Okay, so now that we are on the same page, the first question that we will ask here is, how can we run JavaScript on the browser? There are several ways that we can run JavaScript on our browser. But first, we will need an HTML page to attach our script. The reason for this is that browsers always read the HTML first and determine which assets and script to load before parsing and executing them, depending on where they were called in the browser or in the HTML page. So let's build our usual hello world HTML page using our IDE. So let's do it right now. So let's close this one and let's start typing our IDE here, or typing our HTML code here. So let's do a simple hello world, body, and h1 hello world. Now, adding a script is as easy as before we can add scripts, we need to serve this first and see if it works. So I'm just going to show the terminal, and on my system, I'm using both Python 3 or Node.js for serving simple web pages. So for this example, I'm using Python 3, Python 3 dash m space http.server, which serves the HTML in this format. So if I just highlight it and copy it, I would be able to go here and paste it, and it shows up on my screen. Now we can also use Node.js by installing http-server, which lets you run using that. It lets you run a server, a simple server that serves HTML pages. Now I want to show you the how do I say this? I want to show you the dev tools so that we can see how the JavaScript works behind the scenes in the browser. So by clicking right click and Control Shift I, we will be able to see this one. So right now it says the server responded with the status for file not found because we don't have a fav icon. But what we can see here now is that we have our HTML on this side. We can also have console, which allows us to see what the JavaScript does, or in essence, if we printed out values on the console, we will see it here. We can see also the sources that we have load. So if I click on this one, we can see the source file that has been loaded and is rendered or executed. We can also see the network, where if I refresh it again, we can see the files that have been loaded. So there you go. Now we go back to our IDE. Go back to our IDE. We close this one. I mean, it's not really closing. It's not really exiting. But we just want to see the whole code here. Now, given that, we would like to add a script. And one of the ways that we can add a script is to just add the script tag here, like console.log hello world, and it should work out. So if I refresh it again and go to the console, it will show up hello world. And another way, which is the usual way, is to separate the logic, which is your JavaScript, and the content. So we can load up JavaScript file. So I'm just going to add src here and script.js, and let's just copy this one. I copy this one, and let's add from script.js. Now, how do we load it up? We use the src attribute of the script tag, and we put in the relative URL, meaning the relative position of the file compared to this HTML. And as you can see, if I do src and script.js, I really love this IDE, autocompletes things that I need. So if I do this, and then refresh the save and then refresh it again, you can see that this has been done. And if we see at the network, this means that the script.js has been loaded after rendering the HTML file. Now, as a practice, what I would usually do is to put this inside the body. Now, why would it be that way? Because in terms of user experience, if the script is like big, like around 500 kilobytes or 1 megabyte for some websites out there, which is not a good practice, by the way. But if your script is really, really large, it takes time to parse and execute it, and makes the body not rendered for the users to see. So the problem there is that users will not be able to see the content because the browser needs to parse your JavaScript. And the user doesn't need your JavaScript, it needs the content that they will see on their browser. So that is the reason why I put the script here. So now that we have seen, so let's try it again. I do this again, console, and it works like a charm. Now that we now know how to load a script, we can now do some simple scripts using JavaScript in our browser.